diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Raw Recovery, a Trudging Together podcast. My name is Dion Miller, and I will be your host today. Today, I'm pretty excited to have, but we're kind of mixing it up a little bit. We have a seasoned speaker on, and I'm really excited because he's also a doctor, and I'm not sure what he's going to go into. So this is going to be an adventure for everybody. I have listened to several of his videos, and Dr. Robb is a great speaker. I'm looking forward to him spending some time. Thank you, Doctor, for coming on and taking your time with us today.
Of course. I'm looking forward to it, Dion. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you had reached out to be on the show, and gosh, you were just all over the place. You were doing a lot of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step down and let you take over the show. So it is yours from here on out. The stage is yours, Dr. Robb.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Like I say, guys, my name is Dr. Robb. They call me the addiction doctor for a reason. And I want to, well, they call me addiction doctor or the Gordon Ramsay of the addiction world, one or the other. That's because I curse a lot when I'm in practice and it's frowned upon. But, you know, for many years, I just wanted to, bring something that's going to make a dent into the addiction because the medical fraternity is still baffled with addiction and alcoholism. So you're probably asking yourself at home, why is this guy, getting into addiction? Well, it's because of what I went through as a teenager and early 20s. My first drink was the age of 9. I come from an alcoholic family. So it's something you don't know, guys. And now you've got to realize that I've researched this for 30 years. I researched brain science. I specialize in neuroplasticity. You are born alcoholic. End of story. Trace it back. There's a biochemical reaction to ethanol in alcohol. It's not actually alcohol, it's the ethanol in. Now, drug addicts are different. You have to have the addictive brain and take as much drugs to become addicted. That's the difference. So alcoholics are born this way.
And thank you for that, because I don't think a lot of people understand that there is a different addiction between alcohol and drugs. And that's why some of the old timers in AA and stuff are like, no, we stick with alcohol here. Yeah. And that's why.
Yeah, definitely. Even in the early days, they recognized it was different. I don't know how, because only over the last 10 years did the medical fraternity catch onto it. Okay. But you can't drink yourself into becoming an alcoholic. That doesn't work. And 10 DUIs or warning off your doctor, that doesn't make you an alcoholic. What made me an alcoholic is when I took alcohol, because first of all, I didn't have the mental obsession, so I drank alcohol. That set off my alcoholism, which took another 10 years to come to fruition, but that's where it started. So I remember come from a musical family. My auntie and uncle, I was on stage at the age of 9.
Oh, wow.
It was actually, if you ask an alcoholic when was your first drink, they'll always tell you. Now, some say it was a tablespoon of whiskey off my dad when I was 4.
No.
Wow. It's like, mine was Liverpool Club when I was playing in Liverpool, where the Beatles come from. My uncle said, try this half a bit. I was so nervous because there was a biggest crowd I've ever seen that we played, and the curtains opened, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
And I froze. So at half time, my uncle said, have this drink, it'll be okay. I took the drink, and all of a sudden my whole world changed right there and then.
It did.
I didn't know to what capacity, but I knew that when I drank this substance, the confidence came. It was just made me feel fantastic. Now, during my research, I would go back and ask friends of mine, when you died or whatever it was with kids, when you took that first beer, what was it like? 99.9% of them say, oh, it was disgusting. I spat it out, never drinking again. But with me, it was different. It was like, oh, wow, this is it. So I used to get my uncle to buy me half a beer every time we played, which was Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Wow. Nothing special in school, believe it or not, nothing special. Okay. Nothing special in high school, though I could play every instrument, known to man. And that's what I did. But,
that's impressive.
Yeah, it's something that just is in the family. It's like, but not all the family. My brother can't play a musical instrument, but he can build a house or a conservatory in the back of it. His house just build it. I'm like, I don't even know. How would you know how to start?
How would you start?
Yeah. And I showed him the guitar and he goes, I go, how do you? And I said, yeah, it's just gifts that we have. But
that's right.
somebody gave me bagpipes once and within 10 minutes I could get a tune out of it. It's just the way my brain works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful because I earned fortunes when with my guitar, with my bass guitar. That's what I sessioned in. So leaving school, we lived on what they call a project around here, government paid housing.
Okay.
That's what we lived in. So poor family, lower class family, working class parents. Mum was a cleaner of houses. Dad worked for the gas company. And he would go every day and dig holes in the road and fix gas leaks. I always wanted to be better than that because through our whole family, and all of them have done, they grow up, they get married, they have a couple of kids, they go to the bar every Friday and Saturday, Sunday night, and that is their life.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. I was embarrassed to live where we lived. And I don't know why. No disrespect to my family. They did the best they could. That house was full of love and laughs and stuff like that. But I wanted better for myself. And so, being alcoholic. Now, I'm going to keep saying this, guys, because this is very important with the alcoholic brain. Having the alcoholic brain means that I'm absolutely, or anybody is out there, you can turn your hand to anything you specialize in and you can succeed.
Yes.
Period. There is no exceptions.
Yeah.
So, if you're selling on going, well, look at you, your big house and your cars and your millions of dollars. No, I was homeless. I'll get into that in a second. I was homeless with nobody. Nobody talked to me. I was homeless for 14 months, begging on the streets, hurting people for money. Anybody can achieve what I've achieved. And that's the only reason I do this. I don't do it to brag, that's for sure. I could ride off in the sunset tomorrow, never work again. It's not about that. It's about inspiring other people to do what I did,
Good for you.
I will never put somebody down, Dion. I will never say that's a piece of crap. I will always say, oh, that's amazing. Let me show. And I always ask people when I meet them, even if new people, how can I move your business along?
Yeah, and and it's about meeting them where they're at, finding their passion and helping them get there. I love doing that. Everybody's got a passion. We alcoholics and addicts, we're highly intelligent. And there are skills for days. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if you love bowling. I will find you a bowling league.
Yeah, it's unreal. And, I'm going to get into that with neuroplasticity later.
Okay.
But, it's unreal, the addictive brain, what we can do with that, because it's the smartest brain in the world, believe it or not.
I believe it.
When I was at school, I left school. I was didn't know what to do. I wanted to play my guitar, I wanted to become famous. So I started playing in a recording studio as a session bass player. So what we did is we made jingles for TV and radio. That's what we did. That's what they did. I joined them. Okay. Funny enough, though, the studio was Strawberry Studios just outside Manchester, England. It's where 10cc owned that studio. They had loads of hits. I think they had 1 or 2 hits over here.
Yeah.
Huge in the UK. So I started playing there. And what I found was doing 3 sessions at 4 hours each, I was earning more than my father. And I thought, this is it. This is the way I want to do my life and join a band and get famous. So that's what I did. I was playing in bands, my own bands, or bands that my friend had for many years before this. Probably about 11 or 12, I joined my first band, come away from my musical family. We started. In fact, a funny story. We was in a pub called Midway Pub, Levenshulme, just outside Manchester. And there was a drummer there that used to drum for us called Tony. And his friends, he was in another band. These friends would come in and they'd get up and they'd do a few Irish songs and get down. And, they're quite regulars. We knew them, but Tony was playing drums for us. And we knew he played in another band. So one day he started to pack his drums up because we had an afternoon and nighttime gig at the same place. And I said, Tony, where are you going? Oh, I've got a rehearsal and audition with the other band. And I'm like, what? You can't leave us without a drummer? Are you kidding me? I said, if you leave right now, Tony, you'll never work in this town again. You understand me? He goes, Rob, I just got to do it. And just as he got to the door, he opened the door and I shouted out, what's the band called? And he said, we're thinking of calling ourselves Oasis. Well, they played in that town again, bigger and better venues than I ever did. But the alcohol was keep rolling, and I moved to Abbey Road. I got an audition at Abbey Road for a bass player, went there.
Okay.
Played with Queen, David Bowie, Elton John, session with all of them, earned a fortune, put myself through contacts, through the Freemasons, and I got into Oxford University, Queen's College.
Okay.
And that's where my disease started to take off. I was drinking all day, cocaine all night while I was in the studio. And I loved every second of it. I don't remember a lot of it, but I loved every second. Don't remember graduating. Really don't remember that. But when I did, I joined the police force because of peer pressure. The Freemasons, they were all police officers. I lasted about 3-4 months in there, and he fired me for being drunk.
Yeah.
That was my first indicator. In actual fact, I wasn't pissed that he fired me, the inspector. I was pissed that he called me an alcoholic. Because I know what alcoholics are. Do you know them guys at the corner of the street, hugging around the fire with big overcoats and string tied around, drinking whiskey? I wasn't one of those.
Absolutely.
But, I went home and my life seemed pretty crap right then. And then I joined a company, and then I started my own company. And of course, the Alcoholic Mind is such an amazing tool that it became successful very quickly. You see, we can become successful very, very quickly. Yeah. But, and here's the big but, it's the complacency and ego that will drop that back to zero again.
Absolutely. Yep.
So the big book talks about building a bright future up and then smashing it down again. That's what I did time and time again. And eventually got married, had 2 kids. And that's when the mayhem started. My kids were young, 1 and 3 when the violence started. I remember coming down in the morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, to get a whiskey or vodka or something. And I was searching for it. And when I found it, and you'll know this, guys, as an alcoholic, when you find it, it's like winning the lottery 100 times in a row. Got this bottle of vodka. I put it on the counter for a second, reached around to get a glass, a crystal glass, mind you. I'm not an alcoholic. It's a 50-pound crystal glass I'm getting. And when I turned around to the bottle, my wife had followed me downstairs without me knowing, and she snatched the bottle off me. Ooh. And she said, "Rob, I think you've had enough." What I should have done is thanked her, gone back up to bed for another 4 hours and gone to work. What I did was stabbed her 3 times and finished the bottle of vodka off. I called the police and the ambulance, and I fled to Spain. And I stayed there for 3 months until she said she wasn't going to press charges. There was an affidavit swap between attorneys. And I came back home. And the minute I opened the door to go back in with my apologies, she was stood there with the children and suitcases and said, "I'm leaving you."
Yeah.
My husband once said to me and said, "I love you till the day I die, would you believe, Rob? You're not going to kill our kids."
Mm-hmm.
So when she left, I got hold of my attorney and said, "I need the kids back now. Nobody does this. Do you know who I am?" All that shit we do.
Yeah.
Anyway, next day he went to court, and next day he knocks on the door. He had my 2 children with him. I brought the children in. I sat in front of the TV. I was so happy. I walked into the kitchen, and I thought, wouldn't it be great to have just one drink to celebrate? One drink, one can of lager. It was the last thing I remember. 2 or 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, babies had not been changed or fed. I nearly killed them. I was on the floor, liquor bottles all over the place. I've gone to a liquor store several times. Wow. The police officer kicked me out, served me with unfit father papers, and they took my children away. Yeah. That was so many years ago, Never seen the young one since. But I always remember my oldest one. She was 3 or 4, probably 3. And she's walking down the path with mommy's hand. And she turns around and said, "Daddy, Daddy, please don't go." And I was crying. She was crying. Mom was crying. Yeah. Even the police officer was crying. Halfway down the path, she turned around one more time and said, "Daddy, Daddy, please get better." And as she got to the gate and opened these big gates, she turned around for the final time and said, "Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking."
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, guys. I couldn't do it, I went back into the house. I opened another beer, and 6 months later, everything was gone. Kids had gone, the wife had gone, the house had gone, the cars had gone, the businesses had folded.
Yeah.
My medical license was taken off me. And I went from there to my mom's, from mom's to friends, from friends to acquaintances in about 1 to 2 weeks. And then 3 weeks later, I'm sat on the streets homeless with nobody wanting to know me.
Yeah.
I remember sitting there the first night, Dion, and I honestly thought to myself, where the hell did that just go wrong?
Yeah.
But still not thinking it was an alcoholic, by the way. It's the crazy part. It's the insanity of the disease. Just thinking I'm going through a bit of bad luck. I'll be off the streets in a week, probably a week, few days. I'll be off the streets. Someone will give me, call me up or something, or I'll call them. And, I don't know. It's somehow I'm gonna be taken on the streets, but nobody would touch me. And
Yeah,
I stayed there for
I
14
remember that when I was 19, I was in the same position under the bridge, and I still didn't see that I was an alcoholic. Yeah, but I meant that bridge over there. That's the worst bridge.
Yeah.
This bridge is fine. And just the denial on it, I mean, can keep us in everlasting ignorance.
Yeah, and we tend to lower the bar and lower the bar and lower the bar.
Yeah.
It's like, well, as long as I'm doing this, I'm never doing that. And then when you do that, well, I'm not doing that. And suddenly you've got no bars left. You're the lowest of the low, like I was. And it was horrible. There was violence every day to fight to stay alive. There's a guy next to me one morning. We all had our benches in the gardens, Piccadilly Gardens. And I woke up one morning and the guy next to me had been stabbed to death for his sneakers.
Wow.
So that's the kind of place I was in. Then I could fighting for money, just trying to stay alive most of the time.
Yeah, survival mode.
Yeah. That carried on for 14 months. And I remember one night I'd had no alcohol. I was sweating, going into DTs, and then walking at the back ends of Manchester, cobbled, just factories only, no housing. And I dropped to my hands and knees, and I remember looking up to the sky as an atheist and going, if there is a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore.
Mm-hmm.
30 seconds later, a guy went around the corner with a little Bible in his hand. I'm not religious, so I don't know why he was talking to me, but he'd missed his last bus home from Bible study. He'd walked about an hour to get to his house. He passed me, and he says, hey, mate, do you want help? And I said, yeah, I'm dying. And he took me back to his house, and he explained that he was an alcoholic in recovery. He was also a Christian, and his aim was to help other people.
Yeah.
I got shaved and showered for the first time in about 9 months. And he said to me, he said, hey, here's the deal. You can stay as long as you want, Rob. I don't care. But you have to come to AA meetings every night with me. And I'm like, oh, not them. Oh, them AA meetings. Oh, my God. Them bragging rights. But I went because it was a dry bed. And during that first meeting, the bragging and the war story started. And I sat there and cringed through every one of them. And then at the back end, this guy said, my name's John, and I'm a recovered alcoholic. And my ears pricked up, Dion. I'm like, you can't say that in here. What do you mean recovered alcoholic? So after the meeting, I walked over to him and I said, hey, man, can you sponsor me? And he said, no.
Cool.
But I'm just about to dive into a big hole in the ground. He said, but I will be a spiritual advisor for a period of 8 weeks.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, well, this guy's crazy. So he said, here's my address. Come around every Wednesday. So I walked up to that man's house with my dictionary and my big book for an hour. I spent an hour with him every Wednesday. I walked an hour back. Yep. We did the book. We talked about God. And I did the 12 steps in 2 days, like the book says. After step 5, go home. Come back the next day, I did it. I knew. He told me there and then, and he said, your life's going to change from tomorrow. And your thing is to go as far away from this country as you can and work with other people. And I'm like, dude, I'm in a guy's basement. Nobody knows I'm there. How the hell how's my life going to get any better?
Yeah.
But then I kept doing what I'm doing, going to his house every Wednesday. And when I finished the 12 steps, the next day I got offered a part-time job at Derek's place, the guy that took me in. Later turned into a full-time job. Some guy gave me a mini car that got me to work and back. He gave it to me.
Yeah.
So after the first 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, got my first paycheck. Went to the gas station. I bought me a little teddy bear and a card. And the teddy bear was tiny, probably 3 inches, all I could afford. And I wrote on the card, thank you for introducing me to God and the 12 steps, blah, blah, blah. John, you're amazing. And I walked back to his house. And when I got there, nobody was in. And there was no lights on or nothing. It looks as if nobody lived there. And I knocked on the door that hard that the next door neighbor opened the door and says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, where's John moved to? She said, John. I said, yeah, the guy who used to live here. I was last week. Oh, you got the wrong address, Lord. He said, nobody in that apartment from the 6 months I've been here, there's been no one in that apartment. So I let her close the door and went down to the left-hand side and I knocked on the door. And this guy came to the door and I said, can you tell me where John's moved to? And he said, John. I'm like, Jesus, yeah, John. He said, there's nobody lived there for 12 months. It's derelict. You can't go in the place. It's dangerous. So I'm confused by now. So I go back to the meeting where I met John. And I said, hey, about 11 weeks ago, I came and you're speaking to John. And they're like, John. I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here? I said, yeah, the guy I was over near the coffee machine and I was speaking to. And this is what the main guy said. He said, Rob, you was over near the coffee machine speaking to yourself. We've never found that man. But what he's shown me has saved millions of lives as I travel around the world with my big book and a passion for this
Wow.
recovery. And he told me two things. He says, God's going to take away from your country, and I have to guarantee people can recover from this disease. 7,000 people later, he was right, Dion.
Yeah.
Everyone I've worked with have recovered. You know, it's been an absolute blessing. And then, you know, I went from there to like a little tiny bedsit apartment, and then I went to live with another guy that we paid half rent each. We were getting somewhere, and then somebody in America contacted me. They heard some talk I did on a cassette tape and asked me to come over to America, to Texas, Dallas, Texas, and it's a church, and work with some teens with a crack cocaine problem. And the rest is history. I came over here and my business took off, and the TV took off, and he had a daily show in Dallas, nationwide. I've been on, you know, the TV shows I've been on are between 8 and 18 million, you know, because I asked God for a platform. Give me a platform where I can tell everybody. I went on a nationwide sort of like a panel thing with Purdue.
Okay.
And I went head to head with the Purdue legal guy. And I disgraced them live on TV. And the very next day, they filed for bankruptcy. I'm not saying it's anything I did, but I'd like to think I put a little chink in there somewhere.
Yeah, certainly.
And life's amazing today, you know. It's just,
you know, sometimes when we just do what we can to educate people, that's how I fight, quote unquote, fight stigma, is by educating. I don't fight. I just bring up fact and my experience, and it's enough to shut most people down.
Yeah. I have two haters now. There used to be loads, obviously. This guy doing a bit and being on TV. I only have two now. God bless them. I'm still praying for them. And then one day, you know, when I get to Dallas, here's another thing as well, guys. You got to be careful who you hang around when you're in recovery. If you hang around 9 depressed people, you will become the 10th. End of story. So when I was in Dallas, you know, I had a bunch of guys there, and I said to them one day, I'm thinking of writing a book. And most of them went, a book? Don't be stupid. Can't write a book. You've got to be an author. Never wrote a book, Dion. Then I moved to San Antonio 2 years ago, and I started hanging with these dudes who were recovered alcoholics. I said to them one day at lunch, hey guys, I'm thinking of writing a book. This is what the head guy said. A book? I thought you'd already got one out. Are you kidding me? Jesus, you've got to write a book. I would buy it, Rob. So I wrote a book. And I called it, the last thing my daughter said to me was, the book's called Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, on Amazon and Walmart. Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. So not seeing the ex-wife for, I don't know how long, 30 years, not seeing my youngest daughter. But my eldest daughter, 4 years ago, contacted me on Facebook. God bless Facebook and Messenger. Yeah. And she says, Dad, you know, I want to see you. I saw you on TV. So me and my wife flew over there. She said, when I got the message, I was in bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, it was like 10 o'clock her time. And my eyes are blurred and I couldn't see. So I grabbed for my glasses, put them on. I was like, Johnny, it's Charlie. It's Charlie. You know, we call her Charlotte, but we call her Charlie. But we flew over there and I was so nervous after all these years. And we knocked on the door and she was waiting for us. She opened the door and we hugged and we cried. And right there and then, Dion, if God would have taken me, I would have been a happy man. But it wasn't to end there, because she says, Dad, I've got something to show you. And as we walked in, hugging each other to the main room, she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Aww.
Right there and then, I was like, and then she said, Dad, I want to do what you do. So we sent her back to college for a year or so. Wow. And 9 months ago, she opened my Manchester office in the UK and is now my prime therapist.
Nice.
I know. So things happen, guys. You've got to stick in there and do what you got to do. You know, miracles are still with us, the book says. Our own journey, you know, will show you that. And I truly believe. And there's a couple of things with neuroscience that I practice, and also quantum physics that says a couple of things. That you can, if you visualize something in your head, you can hold it in your hand. And I have, and thousands of others have. You see, the problem with the average alcoholic or addict is they don't believe they're good enough. They don't believe they're going to amount to anything. Because remember the dreams we had, Dan? I don't know about you, but as a young kid, I'd be in the football with, you know, like 8 or 9. I want to be like for Manchester United. I want to be a rock star. What happened to them dreams? I'll tell you. The family and the people around you kicked it out of you.
Yep.
And then
for sure.
alcohol's involved. And then we have the trauma. I don't even talk about trauma that you have as a child. Every alcoholic has trauma, period.
Agreed.
That trauma stops us from doing anything. Once you clear that up, you can be anybody. You can do anything in the world. And people used to say to me all the time, well, I can't be president of the United States. I beg to differ today. A businessman was there. It's awesome. You can do anything you want to do.
Yep.
Stop putting the brakes on your imagination. You know, set your goals, walk out and take them. Quantum physics tells us that, let's say, a basketball court. You can be, quantum physics tells me I can be on the basketball court 25 times at the same time, 25 places at the same time.
Okay.
I know it's getting deep because nothing's really solid. So when I look at that basketball court and I see me on there 25 times, where do I want to be? I want to be over near the goal. Hero of the game. The question is, how do I get there? Listen up, guys. You walk over and you take that position. Don't beg for it. Don't ask for it. Walk over and take it. It's yours. You can visualize it. Walk over and take it. And people go, well, you know, if you're sat at home, guys, and you're really depressed, if you think that you're not going to amount to anything, if you don't think you fit in or never going to be anybody, I want to apologize to you because somebody's put it there. Somebody's put that thought pattern there. And it's your job now as an adult or a young adult to change the way you think. Yeah. The basal ganglia, which is the repetition, strengthen, and confirms in our brain, has been fed with all this bullshit. What happens is that's our normal reaction. Yeah. So we try and be somebody, we mess everything up, we go back drinking, and it's just repetition until we either drink ourselves to death. There's definitely divorce coming, the kids are going to be gone, and it goes down and down. It doesn't have to be that way. We can program the basal ganglia. And the other interesting part with the brain that not many alcoholics know is the hypothalamus at the back to the bottom of the brain. It's our fight or flight part of the brain. But it will tell normal people to drink water, eat food to survive. It's the survival part of the brain. At a certain point, when the heavy drinker passes over to the alcoholic, the real alcoholic who can't stop drinking, what happens is the hypothalamus tells us to drink. That's why an alcoholic can go weeks, without drinking water or eating food. That's why we drop so much weight, because the brain's telling us to drink alcohol. So you're fighting against your brain. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we can't stop. Yeah. And the worst thing is, what we found is, when you know you're doing something wrong, you get that butterflies, you get a bit of guilt, you think, oh my God, I shouldn't really be doing this. But when alcoholism strikes, it talks to you in your own tone of voice. Yeah. The same tone of voice that says, hey, why don't you buy the wife some flowers? Hey, why don't you buy a new car? Hey, why don't you go for a swim? He talks to you in that voice. So with that and the hypothalamus, you've got no chance but to drink. We have to drink.
That is amazing. Yeah, and the reason it's surprising me, because I love learning more stuff about me, and because I never drank or ate when I was drinking alcohol. I didn't have water and things like that. My thought process was, if I have a full stomach, I'm not going to get the full effect of the alcohol either. So I'll drink and then eat. But I was never hungry. No, wouldn't be. It's just crazy. Because once I know I have the mental obsession, I need it because the hypothalamus is messed up, and the basal ganglia is programmed to self-harm in such a way. Self-sabotage is the best word for that. So with them going on, that's the only thing we think about. So we have to get out that cycle, find somebody who knows what to talk to. 12-step meetings are freaking awesome, but not all meetings are great. Yeah. The big book, which most people know what I'm talking about. I've studied 20 odd years in schools, universities, colleges about the brain and alcoholism. There's nothing I don't know. And I can categorically sit here and say, hey, the first 164 of that book is the best piece of literature I have ever seen pertaining to the recovery of an alcoholic. It's not the rooms. Meetings are never going to keep you sober. It's not the meetings we make, it's the steps we take. That's right. The medical fraternity can't help you. I'm one of few doctors that's gone through what I've gone through to work with people drug-free. We don't use any drugs or anything. You can do this without. Now, if you have a disease or depression, cancel that. Brain chemicals change. You need it. So
It's all about getting well and getting out. Hey, and if you start at home again, like, stop being selfish. If you listen to this podcast, you listen to it for a reason.
Yep.
Get some help. Call me. Get well and help other people. There's people out there dying, waiting for you to get well.
Mm-hmm.
That's as simple as that. And I'm going to do this as well because, again, I know what people are thinking because I think the same thing. It's okay for him. Look at him. It's all over the TV. Okay. Here's my in the trenches part for you guys.
Yeah.
Here's my personal phone number. 214-600-0210. That's 214-600-0210. Give me a text. We can have a 5-minute chat that will change your life. I'm not going to cost you anything. I'm not going to sell you anything. This is being in the trenches with another alcoholic. It's not work. It's me and you talking. And if I get one person on the phone that can change his life, my job's done for today. And that's all I ask. Believe me, you'll be doing me the favor. Don't be sat there going, I can't call this guy. People freak out when the office phone goes and I answer it. They go, and then make an appointment to see Dr. Robb. I'm like, this is Dr. Robb.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like, stop it.
What kind of example would I be if I didn't pick up my phone?
Exactly.
If I didn't, and this is all about being an example. And thank you for being that. See, we're talking about humility here. See, I have people in my life that, I love doing podcasts. I do a lot of talking, but I spend most of my time being humble, talking to God, saying, let me stay with you, keep you with me. Don't let this go to my head. Because
I know. And as long as you stay there, see, here's the deal. It's impossible to relapse while you work in your program. You either work in your program or you work in your problem. You can't do both. I hear it all the time. Oh, Rob, I was working my program, then I relapsed. No, you wasn't. It's impossible. It's an impossibility to relapse while you work in the program. And you know what program I'm talking about, So, you need to start doing this. It's a phenomenal piece of literature that will get you to the place and constant working with us like me and Dion do. Take that phone call. My most valuable time. So I'm open to anybody, me. My hourly rate is $550. Our program per month is $25,000. We take pro bono 25%. So we look after everybody. But let me tell you, my time is precious. I will give you my time free of charge. Of course. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? Because when I stopped doing that, I relapsed. Yeah. I've never seen a program. I've never watched it. I've never read my book. I've not watched the DVDs that I made nationally. I don't watch that shit. And the reason why I don't watch it, and I call it shit, not shit, but just me, is that I'll start to believe that hype. Yeah. I can't do that. I can't do that, So I have to stay feet on the ground. I remember coming out of Paramount Studios once, and they provide like planes and limousines and stuff. Okay. And I came off after an amazing standing ovation with everybody. So I'm buzzing like crazy, Dion. And I walked out and I happened to look around and shout to my wife, hey, where's my limousine? Because people were around me. I was trying to show off. Mm-hmm. And she walked over and she slapped me in the face and said, if you ever say that again, I'm gone. And I'm like, straight down to, she says, they provide you a car. You should be grateful for that. Don't ever shout across the room that crap again. And my wife's a quiet girl. She shocked me. Yeah. And later on, she told me it shocked her, but she just didn't go down that route because, I'll buy into that stuff, Dan.
Yeah. And we need people like that in our lives.
Yeah, we do.
I call them accountability buddies.
Yeah.
They're the people that say, hey, Dion, what are you doing? Yeah. What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah. No, get in your lane.
Yeah, exactly. I have same friend. I have 3 friends around me. If you've got more than 5 friends, you need to question yourself. If you got like 25 close friends, then you're kind of in a bragging competition. Get 3 or 4 friends. I call my sponsor all the time. Hey, Rick, I'm thinking of doing this. Really? Yeah, ain't going to work for me.
Yeah.
but no buts. No, ain't going to work. Why are you doing that? Yeah. Well, I just thought it'd be a great opportunity. You mean it's going to be loads of girls there? No, I'm married. You mean it's going to be loads of girls there? Oh, fuck it, I'm not going to do it then. That's how they make me accountable. They treat me like just a 12-step guy. They don't buy into the stuff.
And I appreciate that because there's sometimes I do a lot of advocating, I do a lot of talking, but it doesn't mean that I'm bigger than or know more than anybody else at all. It's the position I'm in.
Yeah.
And I don't like being treated more than that either. It makes me very uncomfortable. I'm not sure what to do with it. I don't want to be popular. I just
No.
want to help that one person every single day. And if I do more than that in a day, it's just bonus for me.
Yeah. That's it. I run a book study from the group we started some 12 months ago, and there's quite a few people there every Saturday, waiting for, and I always start with, listen, guys, I want to lay it on the line. I know any more than you. I don't know any less than you. In fact, we both might learn something this morning.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm up here because I'm freaking old and I've been around a bit. That's the only reason. And it's just a beautiful place to be, It's just to get that happy medium in your life. But that I've got to tell you that all my studying, all my research, which is beginning to be true about the brain, and everything I've done, my experience is my biggest asset. The stuff I went through was like a semester at Harvard, Dion. Because I get people all the time coming up and going, yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. Robb, what do you know about homelessness? Let me sit you down and talk to you about that. Well, you know about losing your kids. Let me sit down and talk to you about that.
Yeah.
And you go, I can't believe what you've done. Well, let's do it with you now. Let's bring you into that category because
your turn.
Let's make dreams happen. Let's make them. We don't. I know alcoholics, right? Alcoholics don't build businesses; they build empires. The only time you build a business when you've got nobody around you telling you you're building a fucking empire.
Yeah.
Because the brain will start to believe whatever you tell it, as long as the repetition strengthens confirms. If I tell you a lie right now, you might believe it, Dion. You might not. If I tell you a lie often enough, you're going to believe it. But guess what? If I tell you a lie real often enough, I'm going to fucking start to believe it. That's the human brain. So get people around you that trust in you, who tell you. See, nobody tells us, Dion. I remember walking past the kitchen about 2 years ago when we were in Dallas, and I heard the junior therapist say to the senior therapist, did you just see what Dr. Robb did? That guy was suicidal when he came in. He's walking out. He's almost skipping, saying bye to everybody. Yeah. He's just incredible. The senior nurse knows the score. Said, yeah, have you told him that? Oh, no. I mean, he already knows, but oh, God, I'm not telling him. Nobody knows, guys. Yeah. Nobody takes the time to go, you're amazing. It's not an ego thing. It's like sometimes when I stand on stage or TV ready to do something, the old subconscious disease starts propping through to the prefrontal cortex and says, the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
What the fuck have you got that these guys want? Nothing. Who do you think you are? And if you're not surrounded by the right people, like my wife, she never curses, Dion. But at the back of the stage, when she sees I'm nervous and sees the sweating and I've been throwing up all day because I'm just so nervous about speaking, she'll lean over and she goes, you're Dr. fucking Robb Kelly. And then I realized maybe I've got something to offer. And I walk on and I do my stuff and I come off and everybody likes it. And I, honest to God, I never remember what I've said. I never make notes.
I speak. Well, it's because it's God talking. I also don't go back and listen to things that I've done. I've never listened to one of my podcasts. I would just pick it apart.
Yeah.
And it's not for me to pick it apart. It is a God thing. It is a gift. And I am to give it away if I want to keep it.
Exactly. I've come up with an open mind walking on, knowing that God will be there. I've all of a sudden said something absolutely remarkable that everyone's gasped at. And they go, God, that was amazing. I go, what? And they repeat it. I go, freaking hell, that isn't me. Well, you said it. I didn't say that. I mean, I'd like to sit here all high and mighty and tell you how smart I am. I ain't fucking clever.
No.
I'm just open to God to tell me what to do and lead my life. And here's the deal. If you're working with God's kids, ask for shit.
Yeah.
You go, oh, no, you can't ask for yourself. Ask for shit that will help other people. Can I have a brand new car gone? That there is a great story from Steve Harvey, the guy that does Family Fortunes on TV.
Okay.
And he's praying to God. He's got nothing. He's living on the streets. He's doing the odd gig he can get. And he started to ask God for stuff. And he started to get more gigs that were more power, more paying $100 instead of $10. And he asked God once, he said, I've always been thrown off our property in rental housing. Mum was, thrown out loads of times for not being around. I'm sick of being evicted. All I want is 20 acres to call my own. A couple of months later, he gets an offer to go down to see this guy. And the guy's got 18 acres but it's $100,000.
Wow.
And Steve says, I can't pay that outright, but I'll pay you a certain amount a month. And the guy says, no, I need the cash, buddy, but go and have Joe. So he calls Joe, and Joe comes over, and Joe looks at Steve. He said, I'll tell you what, I have 20 acres exactly. You can have it. You pay me X amount of dollars a month. So all of a sudden, Steve had, with no money, had 20 acres of land. And he started to pay it off as he started to become. But then he says, you know something, God, I've got 3 guys inside that are never going to come out. Can I have their 20 acres? Yep. And he got it. And he has something like 400 to 600 acres now by doing that. But every time he does his show, he sits down during breaks and he tells one of these stories, and it's just mind-blowing.
Wow.
Just like our story, Dion. You get the time to speak to people and connect. When I compliment people or say thank you, dopamine's released into my brain. Yeah. I like dopamine. Okay?
I do too. Yep.
And you will never know how much you will change somebody's life with a quick compliment. Never know. You will never know how powerful you are. You will never know who's watching you. You will never know the impact you have on people's lives. You'll just never know how powerful you really are.
Yeah. And I believe that one person can make a difference. I believe 100%. That because I do it every day. You know, now I enjoy doing it with other people, but if I'm doing it myself that day, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah. It's a beautiful. I remember at a meeting once, I used to teach a book study every Saturday and Sunday, and the old timers looked down on me and, you know, look at that dick doing a book study. It's like, but I carried on doing it, and people were attending and people were getting well. But I was doing it for about a year, and towards the end, they tried to throw me out of the meeting, and, you know, they closed the room down, so I couldn't teach anymore. So it was an open mic, so I got onto the mic, and I said, there was about, I don't know, 100, 200 people in that room. And they were all waiting for me to say something good and inspiring. And I said, guys, I'm fucking done. I'm done with the argument. I'm done with the shit. I said, my word means nothing. I'm not making an effect. I'm not making an impression on anybody. And I walked away and I sat down, and the whole room was silent. Mm-hmm. And there was a guy there who used to open up at 5 a.m., sweep the floors, make coffee for everyone, stay there all day, retired, old guy, 80 something. And he had a walking stick. And all of a sudden you could hear the click of the walking stick walking towards the stage or the podium. He straightened his mic up, and he said, hey guys, just let me ask you a couple of questions. If anybody in this room has been affected with what Rob has been teaching out the big book or anything else he's sponsoring people, can you stand up? 16 people stood up out of 200 people. And I was just about to shout out, what did I fucking tell him? And then he said, Dean, he said, of the guys still sat down, have you been affected by the guys stood up right now, or another 20? And he kept saying that until the whole fucking room was stood up. Yeah. And he looked directly in the corner when I always said, never underestimate the power that God's given you.
Yeah. No. You know, only God can determine your worth on that. Now, I've been through that. I do a daily reflection, so I go live every day, and you know, I had been doing it for about a year, and I was telling my wife, you know, I just don't feel like I'm having an effect on people. You know, I want to help that one person today, but you're right. It usually doesn't come back around. You just have to trust God it's happening. And my wife tells me, she said, Dion, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but there's a couple people that are listening to you. They're just afraid to talk, but they're listening to you every day.
Always.
Yeah. And I didn't know that. And it gave me a new sense of worth.
Yeah, it does. And we need that. And listen, here's my deal from 30 years of studying. There's a difference between ego and confidence. Confidence is wanting you to know that I can do something so you can trust me. Ego is me wanting you to believe I'm fucking amazing.
Yes.
It's like judging by my actions, not by my intentions. That's all it is. We all need a boost of confidence, because I hope you agree with this, dear, and I think you will. What we do is a lonely fucking world. Yeah. It can be a lonely world, you know, and you feel we're banging our head against the wall and nobody's listening. You know, I had a podcast going for about a couple of years ago. Probably 6 people at most watched it. 6 people. Yeah. 6 people. And I've jacked it in. I thought, I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time. God called me a month ago to start it up again. Yeah. So we'll start it up again. I don't know what's going to do, but yeah. And that's why it's important that you grab a good meeting.
That 6 people turns into 12. That turns into 24. The big thing I don't do anymore is count my numbers. I don't do it.
You're crazy.
It will. And a lot of times they're not right anyway.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're not correct because it's following this path and that path. So I listen to God and what he has to say. And he lets me know my worth because I'm willing and open-minded to listen to that.
Yeah. That's the key. Open mind. I'm teachable today. I'm still teachable today.
Yes.
You know, we have a group that we started a year ago, and you know, when you come in and you're really interested, you get through to 1, 2, and 3 before you leave. You get your big book, you start studying. After 2 or 3 weeks, you can chair a meeting and you can sponsor people in our group.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to meetings and you know, I see people come in and they go, well, you know, 2 months. Oh no. You have to have 12 months before you can chair a meeting. And fuck you. God will tell me when I'm fucking ready, not you. Fucking human power. That as you can't help me, shut the fuck up, will you? You egoistic piece of shit. Sit down. Let somebody else chair. We had a guy chairing. I sat next to him. He was so nervous. It's 3 weeks recovery. He's recovered. Then he's 12 steps. He's read the book. He's working with people. An amazing guy. His life's starting to change already. Sit down and do it. You know, God will tell you when you're ready. Nobody else.
I just started a newcomers meeting, and the rule is if you feel like you're ready to chair, you can.
That's it. That's how we get well.
You could be 2 days and be doing service work. I will not stop you.
No, that's how they got one in the early days. You know, look at the 2 guys that started that 12-step meetings.
Sure.
You know, they were doing the equivalent of step 6 when I stayed in the hospital in bed. And mine anything else. My sponsor was 3 hours sober before he went his first call with 3 or 4 buddies, and he was only 3 days still shaking. And they give him a paper bag and said, "That's your job tonight." And he said, "Why have I got a paper bag?" He said, "You'll see." And he sat there on the way home with this new alcoholic vomiting into the bag. And he said, "You know what he told me? That was 40 odd years ago. It's the best job I've ever had."
Yep.
Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say my most favorite job, God, that was horrible English, was detox. I love working detox.
Yes, because you get them raw, don't you?
Yeah, you get wet, in denial, drunk, man. Love it.
Yeah. I've just started a detox now. I'm going to a detox every Friday night, and I call them up, or my sister called them up, and says, "Hey, Dr. Robb wants to come down." But like, the Dr. Robb wants to come here. I said, "Yeah, to carry a meeting." Well, what do you mean? Do we have to pay him? I said, "No, it's a 12-step thing. You have to pay him." And like, go down there. I'm gonna inspire people. That's all I want to do is inspire people before it's my time to be passed on. I'm 60 now, Dion. You know, I've lost 70 pounds over the last 5 months because I want to be in the best shape of my life.
Watching that, congratulations. By the way, you look great.
Thank you.
You look great.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to be around longer to pass this stuff on. Yeah, phenomenal. It's what we can do when we put our mind to it. God calls us to do it.
That's it. Yeah. You know, I had COVID and then a gallbladder. And so I had plenty of time to listen to God. And he just kept telling me, Dion, open a new meeting in Aurora. Just open a new meeting in Aurora. Just do it. Because we have a lot of new people here and not enough people to help out. So I figure I'd go do some Tradition 8 work and get some 12-step work going for everybody.
Excellent. Love it. Love it.
I appreciate you coming on and spending your time with us today. I appreciate it.
Of course. And don't forget, guys, if you're at home thinking, you know, anything bad or anything, I'd rather take a text and a call off you than attend your funeral. So please call. If you want to jump on the website, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com is the website. Jump on Amazon if you want to buy the book. Everything penny. You know, you hear guys going, well, all the profits go to charity. No. That's when everyone's taking their piece. $9 that you pay on Amazon, the $9 we give 250,000. I don't know how much it was last year to people in recovery, trying to get the kids back, want the first apartment, all that stuff. It all goes there. We take nothing off that book. And if you don't like it, text me. I'll refund your money.
Wow. Yeah, and when I put this out, I'll make sure that your phone number is on there along with your website, so that if anybody wants to contact you. You know, and what I'm really getting out of this is, and I love hearing it, is you can do what you want with money or things like that, but service work comes first.
Yes.
You know, before I would take a paid gig, I better be sponsoring somebody.
Yes.
I better be running meetings. My service work comes before anything else. And
Yes,
that's
and
what I
it's,
liked hearing from you. Thank you.
you know what? When I'm on with a patient, because we do a lot of telehealth now, and a sponsee calls, the patient gets paused
Yeah,
while I take that call.
yeah,
You know, I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy, Derek, who saved me off the streets. I want to be that guy that's going to be there. I don't want to missing calls of people that are asking for help, because I always give my phone numbers out in 12-step rooms, and I go, hey, you want to speak to me, call me. I'm on my card. Never
Yeah.
try and sell anything. It's always a different thing. My business and my work
yeah.
has to be completely different.
They're separate.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you again for being on. This was a fantastic talk, and you are always welcome back if you have a topic. I'd love to get into more of the brain work and talk about, because we alcoholics like to know why.
Yes, of course.
So as for my listeners, I will be putting I will be posting his phone number. Feel free to reach out if you're having a hard time, or even just there are no silly questions in this program. Thank you everybody for listening, being a part of. I love you guys. I do. Peace out and have a day.